Hi guys, and welcome to a special episode of Sky vs. Calamus. I'm Calamus, and today I'm going to be talking to you about Pokemon games, i.e., every single Pokemon game that has ever been created, and what do I think about it. So this is tiermaker.com, and as you can see, it's got all the grades down the left-hand side of the screen there. And I'm just going to be talking about each game, what it sort of means to me. I'm going to think about what sort of mechanics the game had, and what sort of experience I had with the game, and overall just rate my thoughts on that game. There's definitely going to be some controversial opinions of mine, but that's the thing. They are just opinions. If you wish to comment and say, "Oh, I don't agree with that opinion," feel free to do so down in the comments below. Um, and tell me that I'm wrong. But we're gonna go ahead. Now, a lot of these, obviously, you got red and blue, you got silver and gold. These were released at the same time, so a lot of those are gonna have the same rating. Um, Really, the sequel ones could have the same rating, could have better ratings. Who knows? So without further ado, let's get started with red and blue. Now, Red and Blue, when they came out, I was 8 or 9. I didn't actually play Red and Blue. I'm what people call a Gen 1er, but my games wasn't Red and Blue. Um, Obviously, it started the franchise. It's super important. I like that it's got. Um, I like that they're just 151. It was easy to manage. It was simple. But going back and playing now is is not easy. If anyone's actually tried to play these games, um, they're very slow. There's no running shoes. There's nothing like that. So for me, they're a grade C. Now that's not terrible. It's like well, I guess it's a passing grade. Um, but yeah, there's just something about them that just it doesn't mesh well. The models of the Pokemon aren't quite right, compared to what we like picture them as now. It still holds like nostalgia to me, that's why it's not a D or an E or anything like that. But it just wasn't quite hitting the mark. Now, Pokemon Yellow was the first game I ever played. And in fact, I believe I still have the cartridge and the Game Boy Color for it. Um, Maybe I can put in a picture on this video. Yeah, I've still got it. It's a physical thing I have right now. So that was my game. So it holds a lot of importance to me. Also, it was the first time you could have a Pokemon following behind you. You had Pikachu. You could get all your starters. Um, Obviously, it was more of a copy of the anime than it was the games. So obviously, at that point, um, I was 9 or 10. I was about the same age as Ash Ketchum from the show. So for me, that's a B. That's a definite improvement on the Red and Blue series. Being able to get all your stars was obviously amazing. You'd be like, oh, I can get all of them. Uh, Not being able to evolve Pikachu, it was a bit whatever. Um, I'm saying a little too much. I'm going to try and not do that. I can get myself in my own head. Um, and then I just do it again. Okay. So red and uh, silver and gold. Now, silver and gold. These games were a definite improvement on red and blue, and I think they're on par with Pokemon Yellow. Being able to battle 16 gyms, you'll be able to do Johto and Kanto. Great. Again, I think I do have. I was a silver boy myself. I know a lot of people are gold. But I was silver, and I believe I still got that cartridge as well, somewhere hidden away. I have that cartridge. Uh, I just realised. No, no, there. I was a bit worried. I thought Crystal was in the wrong place. I put these in order of when they were released. So yeah, I love these games. They're great. You get to do 16 matches. You get to do Elite Four twice, and you get to battle Red afterwards. That was the clincher, to be like, oh, I can battle myself from the previous game, even though it didn't have the same Pokemon, obviously. And then Crystal. I never played Crystal. Um, so almost immediately I want to kind of put it in C. Not that it's a worse game than Silver and Gold. It's actually, it's the same game essentially, but I have no attachments to it. I have no recollection of it. Nothing about the storyline. Nothing to base my opinion on. So really, it doesn't. It could even be a D, to be honest. But no, I'm assuming it's pretty much the same game. So it's actually going to go there in C. Now, Ruby and Sapphire. These came out, well, in the UK, they came out in 2003. Now, in that time, I had just started secondary school. I was 13 years old, and I never had a Game Boy Advance. I never had one. Um, so immediately I've got no nostalgia for it. I'm going down in here in D, and I know that's gonna annoy quite a lot of people because like Generation 3 was like the rebirth, sort of like the rebirth of it, because it was a new console and a console handheld technically. Um, but that being said, I have attempted to play these games on the emulators, so I do know I have actually played these games now. So that brings it up a little bit. But what brings it back down again is, for me, the map. You end up going back on yourself so many times on the map. It's just confusing. Kanto, you went up and around. Yeah, sometimes you have to go back because you couldn't go any further. But they made it very clear there's Snorlax in the way, and you're like, oh, so I have to go around the other way. But so there's something about the Ruby and Sapphire map. It's just so confusing. You end up looping back on yourself, and you're like, I have no idea where I'm going. Also, too much water. That being said, Emerald does have a little bit more of an appeal to me because while I never played Ruby and Sapphire at the time, I played a little bit of Emerald because I knew someone who had it, and I remember seeing Rayquaza and how awesome that was. Um, so that's got just a little bit more. It really, it would be one of these two. Um, you know, it probably should be here, but I'm feeling a little bit more generous with Emerald. And I'm going to give that a C grade. Now, we've got Fire Red and Leaf Green. Again, these are games I never personally played because, again, I didn't have a Game Boy Advance. I had pretty much forgotten about Pokemon during these few years. I grew out of it for a little bit. That being said, I have again played the emulators, and they are pretty good remakes. They fix a lot of the issues that we had previously with the red and blue right here. Um, and they are going to go right here in the B grade. There's not a lot to say about it that we haven't already said about red and blue, obviously. But the fact that you could get Pokemon that existed outside in the region, that was amazing. This obviously launched the whole remake idea that we could take the what's the word, the platform that the current games were on, and bring it back to a previous game. The only thing I didn't like about it was after the seventh gym, is you had to do this whole side quest for Bill on these islands, and I get why they put it in there, but it just felt like we're basically playing red and blue only on a new system, and then suddenly we're like, what are we doing now? Where are we going? And we're like, oh, there's a girl being kidnapped by a hypno. I was like, what? I was like, what are you doing? So that held it back a little bit, but not enough to like bring it down to a C or anything. definitely a B grade. So as you can see, we've been pretty much so far hitting the middle of the road for all these games. But next, we've got Diamond and Pearl. Now, Diamond and Pearl, first games on the DS, and this was when I came back into Pokemon. It was 2007. I was that point. I was in college. I've got my first job. I was earning my own money. And I was like, oh, I've got my own money. What do I do with it? Oh, I have no idea. So I had money in my bank account. I'm like, I don't know what to do with it because I don't know how to adult yet. But I had a friend and he was interested in Pokemon as well now. So I got Pearl and he got Diamond. And these games, these games are definitely A tier. This they sort of brought, and you know what? I'm just gonna straight away move Platinum because I'm gonna have the same opinions of it. Again, I did get Platinum as well. They just brought together everything that I'd come through for the last three generations and just super fine tuned it, made it excellent. I believe no, we already done double battles by this point. I believe that was probably in Ruby and Sapphire, which obviously I didn't play. But that was my first experience with double battles. I was like, oh, okay, it's a cool mechanic. You know what? It might have been earlier than that. I might be getting that wrong. Um, but I remember the storyline being interesting. It was something a little different. I liked the map. I liked the Pokemon that was in it. And it just really brought me back into the fold. Brought me back into Pokemon. Now, at Gold and Soul Silver, if you're on this video, on this channel, you know I'm currently playing Soul Silver. Again, a current game that I still hold. These, oh, how much is my own opinion gonna affect? You know what? Yes, they are. They're S tier. Again, they have all the things that Gold and Silver originally had. They had the 16 gyms. They have the Pokemon following you behind you. Um, it had that Nintendo polish as well. The maps and the buildings all looked beautiful. They're so replayable. And not only that, what else can I say about these games? Oh, that was it. So when this came out, I was in college again. This is the second time going to college at this point. Um, but what they released with this was the Pokewalker, and the Pokewalker was amazing. It was the first instance of, oh, we're gonna get you to move around a bit more. It's basically Pokemon Go pre Pokemon Go, which I realize isn't a game on here, but that technically wouldn't count. And you could transfer your Pokemon into the Pokemon Walker, get steps, and those steps will give you experience and levels, and you find items and improve the Pokemon's happiness, and it just sort of melded your personal life and the Pokemon game together. So this is a game that I've played a lot. I've played a lot of hours into Soul Silver. Next, we have Black and White. Black and White. What can I say about you? You're sort of a mixed bag for me, Black and White, and that's because I definitely was playing them. I played them quite a bit, and that helped because I had someone who was. I had which one did I have? I think I might have had White, and she had Black. Um, we definitely played that a lot. And really, it was around this sort of generation that I started to realize, oh, there's IVs and EVs, and the red and blue text on the stats means that one's the improved stat and one's a reduced stat. I was like, I suddenly started to understand all the mechanics of Pokemon. I was like, how have I gone this long without knowing this basic stuff? Well, I suppose it's not basic. You can play the games without knowing this sort of stuff. But if you want a good Pokemon, you need to know this key information about how to train your Pokemon up properly. And I believe it was Black and White I encountered my first legit shiny, not Red Gyarados, that doesn't count. I believe I caught a shiny Staryu in these games. So I'm looking at possibly between an A and a B. Are they on par? We're going in B. Mainly because, while I did enjoy them at the time, I don't feel any need. Oh, wait, no. You know what? I don't feel any need to go back to these games. I could. I absolutely could. And I think I should, to be honest. What I remember about these games is the storyline. I knew the storyline was a lot different. What team was it in this? In Black and White, there were the people who wanted to like liberate Pokemon, but wanted it for their own agenda or something along those lines. I remember there was this guy. What was his name? N or something like that. Green-haired guy. And I know his storyline had some very interesting. It was like a antagonist, but not the evil guy, which was interesting. But after that, we take a bit of a stumble. Down here, Black 2, White 2. No, just no. These were the first like sequel games immediately after, a year or two after it, and like, oh, now we changed the storyline a bit, we upgrade it, I never completed those games. I must have got pretty close to the end. I got maybe 7th or 8th gym on the way to the Elite Four, and I just like, you know what? No, I'm bored. I am bored of this game. Turn it off. No, I'm done. It just maybe it was too close to the original Black and White. Um, I don't know. Oh, it's, yeah, just too similar. And the whole fusion mechanic with the new legendary, just it wasn't hitting any of the levels for me. Should it be an E? If I don't complete the game, that's pretty bad, right? But no, I'm gonna keep it a D because I did at least play through most of the game, which could not be said about some of the remaining games on this list. Next, we have X and Y. Now, X and Y, I enjoyed these games. I enjoyed them almost as much. I am unsure where I'm going to land on these two, so I'm just going to move between the two while I talk about why they're in this sort of range. Now, as it was your first 3D, which Lancelot started to come up with new models for all the Pokemon. And I liked Team Flare. I liked the master plan that they had as well, with the whole giant structure that was gonna like kill everyone that wasn't in Team Flare, which is super dark. We're like, there's been a lot of dark stuff in Pokemon that usually go over your head, but it's so very rarely part of the main plot. And it's like, oh yeah, this guy, what was his name? I want to say Alexander, mainly because I'm thinking of like Lex Luthor. It was the Lex Luthor sort, before he goes bald, got all the ginger hair. And he just straight up wanted to kill people. It's just like, yeah, I'm gonna kill these people. And there's nothing you can do about it. So for me, yeah, I think that's an A tier. The Mega Evolutions were, cool, new addition. It was all right, I suppose. The Pokemon were a bit well, lackluster. There was definitely hits and misses, but that's true with almost all these games. But yeah, overall, it was enjoyable. I played it all. The gyms were interesting. 3D puzzles really put to use the 3DS. Now, Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire. Now, when I rated Ruby and Sapphire, I said I hadn't played them. I played them on emulator only, and that's it. I did get Omega Ruby on my 3DS. I was like, you know what? I'm going to give it a go. Here's what I like about it. I like that you could use Latias as a flying Pokemon. That was cool. pretty much everything else about the game I didn't like. Uh, it just again, it was another game I never completed at all. Never completed it. I pretty much got to the point where I could get Latias and fly on their back. I think that was it. I stopped, and just nothing about it. It was again, I was bored. I was bored with the game. Maybe it was holding my hand a little too much, which obviously we're getting to the games that do that most famously. Um, but it just wasn't melding with me. I didn't I didn't care about any of it, and maybe that's just that's just my opinion of Generation 3. Maybe you should tell me in the comments that I should give these games another go. I don't know, but it just doesn't. Something about it just didn't meld with me, and I'm like, I'm partway through it, and I'm like, I'm just going through the motions at this point. I'm just playing the game to no end. It's like nothing about this game is enjoyable to me right now. So I had to turn it off. I had to sell that game. I had to get rid of it. Sun and Moon, again, similar to Ruby and Sapphire. Didn't complete the game. I think I got 4 or 5 gyms in. Obviously, they replaced the gyms trials, which I didn't hate. I didn't love either. I was like, okay, this is different. We'll give it a go. Obviously, you still had the battles like there was a trial and then a gym-esque battle type. Um, yeah, and I never completed it. But what I did like about it, and the only thing that's saving it from an F ranking, is obviously they improved on it. The Alolan Pokemon were kind of cool, and not having to use hate terms anymore. That was the key thing that really saved it from an F grade, in my opinion. That being said, Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, straight Fs. Sun and Moon had done such a poor opinion on my mind that this was the first game that I opted not to buy. I knew full well I was not going to buy it, and I didn't. I didn't buy them because they just, again, it suffers from the same thing that Black 2 and White 2 did, in that it was too close to the games that I was like, well, what's the point? It's the same game. But at least with Black 2 and White 2, I at least bought the game. This one, the first one, done such a bad opinion in my mind. It's like, why would I even continue? And then, of course, there's the issue where I've been playing these games for what 15, nearly 20 years, you know, and it just got to the point where I don't. These new Pokemon, do I even care anymore? It, you know, I want to keep playing them, of course I do, but it was at the point where I'm like, I don't I don't get it. Maybe it's just that time where it's like, you know what? In fact, around Black and White, after that, I was like, do I want to keep playing these games? Is it time to just opt out? Uh, but every now and again, you get an X and Y, and I'm like, oh, 3D models. You know what? Yeah, I'll get back into Pokemon. I will give it a go. And Sun and Moon just, they were one of the ones. Should I buy it? I don't know. I bought pretty much every other game. I should probably buy it just to see what it's like. And I bought it and it disappointed. And because of that, I didn't get Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon. And lastly, Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee. This is obviously a game I'm currently playing. I do have Let's Go Pikachu because obviously I played Yellow. I'm thinking probably a B. Because why there's nothing wrong with this one? There's nothing wrong really with the game. Yes, they got rid of uh, battling wild Pokemon. You just catch them. But that being said, if you haven't played the game, catching them straight up, not battling them, you still gain experience from it. In fact, you kind of get more experience than you do in the trainer battles. So there's a lot more emphasis on just catching this Pokemon over and over again. And then there's instances where you can see the Pokemon in the grass, so you can deliberately walk into the Pokemon that you want to catch or avoid them. No longer do you have to run through grass and be like, oh, I'm gonna have to. There's a lot of grass here. I don't want to battle anything. I'm gonna use a repel. Now you can just go through and just avoid stuff. Occasionally things just pop right up and they're like right in front of you and they charge at you, which is a bit a bit scary, especially when it's like a giant Rapidash. Like but overall, it's not really a bad game. Yes, it holds your hand and it's kind of easy. But I just got up to uh, I want to say Kyogre, but that's a Pokemon. Koga, the poison Pokemon in not Saffron, Fuchsia City. Um, and it was actually a difficult fight because what they've done by this point, everyone knows the games, and all the trainers are actually there's definitely some easy people in there, but when it comes to gyms, that's where they really test your skills as a Pokemon trainer. So in this gym, they're all poison types, so a lot of them were using Toxic and Protect as a moveset. You know, these are like basically they were using competitive movesets. So it actually is a real challenge to prove yourself that yes, I am a good Pokemon trainer. And it turns out I'm probably not because by the end of it, I'm like, oh god, I've got to use revives and I've got to keep myself up. I was definitely underleveled, which was surprising considering how much the game holds your hand. It just shows you that you do have to do all this catching in the game to get that extra experience because just battling the trainers is not enough. You've got to catch Pokemon. You've got to catch the same Pokemon over and over and over again. Um, and then get rid of all those for candy and then use that candy to help improve your Pokemon. So it's definitely different. It's definitely improvable. And that is it. We are at the end of the video. This is my tier list. Obviously, not much has made it in the S rank, but also not much made it in the F rank either. You know, they all sort of fluctuate in the middle there for me. And that's my tier list. If there's something you don't agree with, if I've talked a lot about my experiences with these games, and if you believe that I should probably give some of these games a second chance, maybe that'll change my mind on where they land on this tier list. Let me know in the comments below. And you can do your own tier list if you like on tiermaker.com. Thank you guys for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe. All that great stuff. And I'll see you in the next one. Maybe I'll do more tier lists. Goodbye.